Continuing. Well, I think I probably bitched those guys out enough about this. It's just, look, I'm just as human as anybody else, okay? And I get perturbed. You can see what gets my goat. And it's this lack of understanding that makes me nuts. It's like, these are really smart people I'm talking about, smarter than me, okay? I really, that's why it bothers me so much, because I know that they have the capacity to understand what I'm trying to convey and impart, just about economic stuff. What I'm trying to say is not difficult to understand, and it's all math, it's logic, it's reason, it's nothing that can be refuted. So they still want to argue with it. I mean, if you're going to get into an economic discussion, when you start talking about minimum wage, you're getting into an economic discussion. If you say the government's got no place regulating wages, well, then they've got no place doing anything, and you've got no business conforming. And you've got no business paying your taxes and supporting the system if you believe it's so wrong. But if you say it's okay for the government to regulate this, and yes, we want rules here and there, well, you don't get to decide everything, where there are not. I mean, if we need labor protection, we need labor protection, but we haven't had it. Okay, the Labor Department has fallen sorely short of protecting workers' rights because, like I pointed out before, minimum wage could have, if it was written into law that, look, if the cost of living goes up, then the workers get a commensurate cost of living adjustment. Otherwise, they just got a pay decrease. So if you're opposed to perpetual pay decreases, you've got to support what I'm saying. And it's not hard to understand. Don't pretend like it is. I'm sorry, David Knight. I'm sorry, Owen Schroyer. I'm sorry, Rob Dew, okay? But you guys are wrong, and I'm right on this issue, okay? Don't try to tell me the way it is, and the capital is the most important. Capital, okay? Nothing would get done without workers, okay? That's it. You need regular workers. You're always going to need them. You guys, on one side of your mouth, you're talking about how terrible it is that artificial intelligence and robotics and automation has taken all our jobs and all this, and you're failing to talk about this issue, okay? And then you're also failing to talk about the fact that we're going to lose more and more jobs if we start solving problems, okay? Prosperous people don't go into debt. Crime is very low when the population is all prosperous and free, okay? Low to zero. That's the kind of society I want. Let's be clear. You want universal prosperity. You want the wealth and income disparity diminished to the point where we're equally wealthy, not by taking from the haves, but by allowing the have-nots to have. It's all very simple, and it happens naturally. It happens organically if you let it happen. This is what free market supply and demand capitalism is all about. That's how you define progress, is that things get better. Your standard of living increases. It goes up. It progresses. It doesn't regress. It doesn't go down. It doesn't diminish. So, I mean, I know what I'm talking about here. Listen to the greats out there, the Adam Smiths, who devoted his life to understanding economics, especially in a very changing world. He started writing 200 years ago at the beginning of the birth of the industrial age, okay? And I'm telling you, the guy devoted his life, and what did he come away with? It's just like the Bible. You could keep all this stuff simple. What does the Bible say? You want to know the whole law and the prophets that Jesus said? It's this. Sum it up in this. Keep it simple, stupid. Love God above all else and love your fellow man as yourself, okay? That's it. Boom. The law and the prophets, done. Done and done. You live your life by that credo, by that philosophy, by those principles, and you're going to be fine. You're going to go to heaven. You're going to be the best you can be. And the same can be said with economics. And Adam Smith said this: every nation's single greatest asset is its workforce. Labor. You got that? Understand that. And that means often common, uneducated people are needed in society, okay? The world is going to go on just fine if you fall off the earth tomorrow, the face of the earth tomorrow, whatever job you hold. And it's going to be fine if I do. I'm under no illusions. Just remember that. Everything's going to go on about like it has, Okay, so nobody's job is so important. If it was so important, things would be getting better. We'd be making true progress. Okay? And you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about economics, social economics. You can't separate the two. They affect our society, social, our structure, our fabric of our society, the joy, the level of happiness and peace and safety and security and freedom that people feel. These issues are combined. It's just a matter, very important to people. Everybody wants prosperity. And would you withhold it from them? Are you an elitist? Are you a hypocrite? Do you live by a double standard? You're going to stand before your creator and answer for that? I mean, all of us got to be honest with ourselves. I don't care who you are, what you call your philosophy, how you label yourself, a communist, a socialist, a capitalist, a Democrat, a Republican, a conservative, a liberal. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff. Truth cuts through all that stuff. So you can really keep it simple. Okay, and I'm sorry I act exacerbated. I apologize to anybody out there, but I do get exacerbated. And I'm trying to tame the tongue. At least I don't want to be profane and curse. I just don't want to do it. I'm as radical as I can ever be. Okay, I cannot be more radical. There's nothing in my heart. I am not a threat to anybody in society. I do not want to do harm to anybody. Nobody needs to fear me or worry about Chris credit. Okay, I am a lover. Okay, I do believe in self-defense. Okay, but that's as far as I'll take it. I mean, that's it. That's all I believe. Okay, is that I just want people to get it. Okay, I want to move on from here. I want to go to a better place. And so I've got to do what I've got to do to try to get through to people and help them understand the big picture and where we're all stumbling. And I mean all of us, and it's understandable. We're messed up. I mean, we're born with this thick veil of darkness, this unreality that's been crammed down our throats from birth. We don't get it. How can we? What can we? We could barely imagine a world without money. And I think, get over it, man. I could barely imagine a world where everybody's walking around naked, you know, the way it was supposed to be originally, and I don't want to be in that world anymore. I like clothes. Okay? I think clothes have a proper role. But when it comes to money, no, I can understand that because you supplant money with prosperity. We don't need money, but that's how we associate it. We've got it conflated, but it's not the same thing. We can have universal prosperity and need not have anything to do with money anymore. It wouldn't. Nobody would care about money if everybody was prosperous. If there was so much of everything, we were overproductive. If we were all doing productive jobs, and just think about all those jobs that would go by the wayside. If you just ended extreme poverty even, crime would plummet overnight, no more dubious warfare, no more debt, all the social welfare programs, none of this stuff would be necessary anymore. But you don't put the cart before the horse. You do this in the right order, okay? Use proper protocol when it comes to fixing problems. You fix where it's hemorrhaging, where we're bleeding out. And, you know, that is the extreme poverty. And the reason that we have this is these Federal Reservists that own the copyright, the money copyright. And they're political whores, the cohorts. The highfalutin ones that legitimize vote on these things, like your Senate, right, your Congress, all these type of people, right, the lawmakers and all this. All these people, they go against the will of the people. It's anti-American what's happened here with that bailout of '08. All these problems, economic problems, it keeps stemming from that. And we're just getting nailed on so many sides. They never want us to be able to get up. They never want us to recover. They never want people to start, you know, home ownership percentages to go up in California. I never hear the mainstream media talking about this phenomenon that started in California, as far as I know. I know Max and Stacy on the Kaiser report, they cited some other states that were, you know, even more poor than California. But really, if you look at it like that, the loss of the prosperity can be measured through home ownership. So whatever state has the lowest home ownership percentage, that is the poorest state. That is the one that's got the most poverty. Because look, when you're young and strong, it's easy. I could crack that nut, man. I could pay that rent on that apartment or that room in that house or whatever situation you've got. What's going to happen when you're too old to crack that nut? Okay, you're going to depend on social welfare. People need to think. And the media is useless. They're not doing a damn thing, the fake stream media, to wake people up. They're just a bunch of liars. Oh, Donald Trump is a Russian agent, Russian spy. The Russians have taken over. We've got to oust this guy. We've got to censure him. We've got to impeach him maybe. We've got to have a continuity of government. Alex Jones has been talking about this threat of continuity of government and how there's a coup happening, a silent coup, and all this treasonous activity. And I think it's all just talk and rhetoric. And I know he's running a news show, and he's got to be kind of a little bit edgy, a little sensational, let's say. I mean, it sells, right? And so I get that. And so he's trying to make a buck. He's running a business over there, too. It's a news business, but he's worth it. He earns every penny of what they make over there because of bringing people accurate news, at least to the best of their ability. And it is often alarming and frightening and traumatic and all this. But this is something we've got to go through as a society. We've got to go through this emotional phase. It is emotional, and we've got to deal with it. We've got to come out the other side of this thing with God on our side. Okay, with God on our side, because we stood for humanity. That's it. Stand for the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Be willing to lay down all your preconceptions, all your notions, all your delusions. Okay, and understand these basic truths I'm telling you, is that we don't need money. Okay, period. This whole idea that we couldn't live without money is a falsehood. It's erroneous. It's a lie from the pit of hell. And this is what God would tell you too. And that's all I try to convey to people, to understand, look, we can extricate ourselves from this, but first we've got to understand it. And we've got to stay focused and target those people. We've got to expose them. The whole world has to be empowered with that knowledge and certainty. Okay, that's what it is. You're certain, you know who the culprit, you know the problem, you know the root of the problem, and you know that the only way that we're going to extricate ourselves as a society is to confront it and to demand that we change this. Otherwise, we're just waiting for the return of Jesus, for the end of the age, because it can't get worse in perpetuity. It can't just keep getting worse and worse and worse. There's revolutions. Look through history. Every time you oppress people too hard, too much tyranny. And it's economic. Remember, they're doing it through economic stuff. They're creating poverty. That's how it works. And it's still going on. I'm not blaming Donald Trump. This thing has legs. It's had legs for a long time. Bill Clinton gave it legs. Unwittingly, Reagan gave it legs just by being kind of oblivious to the realities of economics, like Paul Craig Roberts pointed out, who worked on his economic team as an advisor, whatever capacity. I can't remember right now. But we've got to know what we're up against here. We really got to get it together, folks, and forget this socialist, communist, capitalist. All this division is created, man. They want us divided. You can totally openly discriminate any way, shape, or form you want if you're a Democrat against a Republican, or if you're a Republican against a Democrat. That's completely legal. There's nothing you can do in every way, business, anything. In no other way can you discriminate in America. None. Gender, sexual orientation, none of that stuff, race, nothing. Okay, but if you can openly discriminate politically, can you imagine? That's what they've done. So we're not going to hash it out ever if they get their way. We're not going to talk it over and arrive at a consensus, say he's right. All this stuff makes sense. They don't want us to be prosperous. They're trying to take it away. Read the Cloward and Piven strategy. Know that what I'm saying is not made up. I'm not pulling it out of my ear. Okay, this is the way it is, folks, and we've got to wake up and smell the steaming, rotten, maggot-ridden pile of excrement. Okay, that has become of our social economic system, our society, our civilization is in ruins. It's in rags. It's completely disintegrated. And so many people out there, they'll point to the stock market and all this. Hey, how's it helping the guy on Main Street? Okay, am I seeing it out there? Am I seeing it? I need to see homelessness drying up. I need to see the wound bound where it's hemorrhaging. People got to understand this is satanic. This is his ploy. He wants us dead. He wants us to lose our will to live. That's how he's doing it, through just more and more fear and oppression and tyranny, through the money, through the lack thereof, by denying us. Say, you're not paying me proper reverence and homage. Okay? You're not conforming to the beast enough So you're not going to survive, man. You don't get the mark, man. You're not going to. You better be in that much fear. Show me that much pseudo reverence, perverted reverence. Okay, that you're going to get to survive. You're going to be one of the few elite, the hypocrites, the elitist hypocrites out there that are going to get to survive in this world, because we're going to try to kill all of you. Georgia Guidestones, we're the altruistic ones because we want to save the earth, while all you peons are focusing on the little things like just saving lives and making your, the economy stronger and helping to get off the need for welfare, okay? That's been invented and created artificially. Okay, because if the currency was sound, nobody would be on welfare, any kind of welfare. We wouldn't need it. We would have progressed. Houses would have been cheaper. When my parents bought a house in Santa Cruz, California for $8,000, arm's length transaction.